Good evening, weary traveler, and welcome once more to a tranquil journey through the quiet, intricate, and profoundly structured corridors of human history. As the day's last golden light softly, slowly, and peacefully fades away, retreating beyond the distant horizon, and the modern world outside your window begins its gentle, nightly hush, we extend to you a warm invitation. We encourage you to settle deeply, very deeply, into your most comfortable and secure space. Allow your thoughts to gently and serenely unwind, slowly untangling themselves from the day's persistent concerns. Prepare your mind, calmly and patiently, for a truly immersive, yet profoundly tranquil voyage into a time long past, to a world where power was absolute, beauty was cultivated, and life, even in luxury, was dictated by an intricate, unyielding set of routines and silent expectations. Tonight, we will venture far, far beyond the hurried, often fragmented rhythm of our contemporary existence. We will turn our gaze, with deliberate intention, towards one of the most ancient, most enduring, and most fascinating civilizations in human history, ancient China. Specifically, our focus will be on what did ancient China concubines actually do all day, providing a deep, meticulous dive into the everyday existence of these often misunderstood figures within the vast, labyrinthine confines of the Imperial Harem. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend the grand tales of emperors and dynasties, of wars and political intrigue, and even the romanticized or sensationalized depictions of palace life. Instead, we will delve into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform routines that govern the lives of millions, bound by the relentless, predictable, yet powerful demands of status, courtly etiquette, and the constant subtle pursuit of imperial favor within a world of immense privilege, but also profound quiet constraint. Imagine, for a long, quiet, contemplative moment, a life dictated not by personal freedom or individual ambition, but by the relentless, unceasing demands of a rigid hierarchy, by an almost obsessive pursuit of perfection in beauty and decorum, and by the constant, gentle flow of ritual and tradition. A world where the dawn brought not the promise of wild adventure, but the absolute certainty of endless, familiar tasks, where every precious hour, every single minute, was consumed by a single, often physically demanding, repetitive routine, performed within the exquisite confines of an imperial palace chamber, or along the quiet, meticulously tended palace gardens, under the ever-present watchful gaze of unseen eyes and the silent weight of ancient protocol. This was a life of quiet, profound endurance, of deep physical engagement with a highly refined yet deeply restrictive environment, and of an almost hypnotic monotony that, paradoxically, can now serve to lull the modern mind into a state of deep calm, a gentle invitation to surrender to a simpler, more structured, and certainly more ornate, rhythm of existence. We will explore the subtle sounds of rustling silk, the rhythmic splash of water in elaborate courtyards, the pervasive scent of incense and delicate perfumes, and the endless precise movements of human hands, synchronized with the demanding ancient rhythms of imperial court life and personal cultivation. This is a story not of heroic battles or dramatic political intrigues, but of the silent, persistent grind of daily existence, of the human spirit's quiet resilience in the face of overwhelming social pressure, unpredictable shifts in favor, and profound emotional challenges. It is a narrative woven from countless threads of physical effort, of ceaseless repetitive motions, and of the subtle yet ever-present challenges of maintaining status, of navigating complex social dynamics, and of finding personal meaning in a world where individual desire was often secondary to imperial will. It is designed to be a gentle lullaby, an invitation for your own mind to find its perfect stillness, allowing the rhythmic, unceasing sounds and detailed sensations of a bygone era to guide you towards a truly restorative rest. So now, as you listen, breathe deeply, very deeply, letting your chest gently rise and fall with each breath. Feel the comforting, soft weight of your blankets surrounding you, wrapping you in a cocoon of warmth and security. Feel the gentle, steady rhythm of your own breath, a quiet anchor in the present moment. And finally, allow your mind to simply drift, too slowly, peacefully, begin its imagined journey into this opulent, ancient, and profoundly tranquil historical landscape. Let the whispers of tireless diligence and the imagined echoes of silent, magnificent palace halls guide your thoughts serenely and without haste towards a state of profound stillness, ultimate peace, and a truly restful, dream-filled sleep. Having gently embarked upon our tranquil journey into the heart of ancient China, allowing our modern minds to slowly drift towards its grand, intricately structured landscapes of power and tradition, let us now fully immerse ourselves in the lived experience of an often misunderstood figure, the imperial concubine. We are about to step into a world that, despite its outward appearance of unparalleled luxury and serene beauty, was often profoundly, even uncomfortably, defined by rigid routines, constant expectations, and a pervasive sense of elegant confinement. Imagine, for a quiet, contemplative moment, awakening within the gilded, yet often isolating, confines of the Imperial Harem, a vast complex of courtyards, chambers, and gardens, designed to house hundreds, sometimes thousands, of women dedicated entirely to the emperor. This is a place where every waking moment was governed by intricate rituals, where personal desire was secondary to imperial protocol, and where the very rhythm of life was dictated by the unceasing pursuit of beauty and subtle influence. Imagine yourself stirring, not with a sudden jolt, but with a slow, gradual recognition of your opulent surroundings. Your sleeping space is luxurious, perhaps a richly carved wooden bed with silk hangings that softly drape around you, creating a private cocoon of warmth and comfort. The air, even in the stillness before dawn, is clean, fresh, subtly infused with the delicate, calming scent of sandalwood incense that lingers from the previous evening's burning, and the faint, sweet aroma of dried flower petals. There are no expansive windows offering wide views of the outside world, but rather intricate lattice screens or silk panels that diffuse the morning light into a soft, ethereal glow, keeping the chamber in a state of perpetual cool dimness. Your mattress, filled with soft cotton or silk floss, offers an unparalleled comfort, its smooth texture a gentle caress against your skin. You rise slowly, gracefully, your muscles perfectly rested, as your body is accustomed to a life devoid of physical exertion. The polished, ornate wooden floor beneath your bare feet is cool, smooth, its texture familiar against your soles, utterly clean. The awakening is not silent. Even before the sun has begun its slow ascent, the vast palace complex around you begins to stir with a subtle, internal hum. From beyond your chamber, separated only by thick painted wooden doors or heavy silk screens, you might hear the soft, rhythmic footsteps of earlier rising eunuchs and maidservants moving through the long, quiet corridors, their presence a constant, unseen backdrop to your life. You might distinguish the muffled sounds of other concubines beginning their own quiet preparations. A low cough, a gentle murmur of voices from nearby chambers, the soft splash of water from a distant courtyard fountain. These sounds are not intrusive in an alarming way, but they are a constant, gentle reminder of the unbroken proximity of countless other individuals, of lives intimately intertwined within the rigid hierarchy of the harem. As the pre-dawn hours slowly progress, the internal sounds of the palace begin to mingle with the first, distant whispers from the outer courtyards. The vast imperial city, though somewhat removed, never truly sleeps in complete silence. You might hear the distant, muffled clang of a gong marking the hour, or the faint, rhythmic footsteps of palace guards changing shifts. The air, though still cool, now carries the faint, sharp scent of wood smoke from the palace kitchens. As countless cooking fires are slowly being kindled across the immense compound, their tendrils of smoke rising into the nascent dawn, you would rise slowly, carefully, your body feeling refreshed, your mind calm, and begin the elaborate process of preparing for the day, a ritual of meticulous grooming and dressing. The process of personal grooming for an imperial concubine was an elaborate, unhurried, and deeply ritualistic affair, a central pillar of their daily existence. There is no rushed showering or quick styling. Instead, a retinue of personal maidservants, moving with trained grace and efficiency, would assist you. Imagine sitting patiently before a polished bronze mirror, its surface gleaming softly in the lamplight. A maidservant would bring a large, shallow basin of warm, fragrant water, often infused with delicate flower petals or aromatic herbs like jasmine or lotus. You would dip your hands and face into the soothing, warm liquid, feeling its gentle caress awaken your skin, its subtle perfume filling your senses. Your long black hair, carefully unbraided from its nightly rest, would then be meticulously brushed for what felt like an eternity. Each stroke smooth and rhythmic, by the gentle hands of your maid. The soft, continuous sound of the brush moving through your hair, the delicate scent of herbal oils applied to make it shine, would create a profound sense of relaxation, a deep, almost meditative focus on personal cultivation. Beyond the basic washing and hair care, the application of cosmetics was an intricate, time-consuming art. Imagine the delicate touch of a maidservant as she applied a subtle layer of rice powder to your face, making your skin appear fair and smooth. Then, the careful application of rouge to your cheeks, a delicate flush of color, followed by the meticulous painting of your lips with a soft, natural red pigment. Your eyebrows would be subtly shaped and darkened with a fine brush. Each step was performed with immense precision, ensuring a look of refined, understated beauty that conformed to the aesthetic ideals of the imperial court. The faint, sweet aroma of these cosmetics, a blend of natural pigments and delicate perfumes, would fill the air around you, creating a subtle, personal cloud of fragrance. This entire process, slow and deliberate, was a continuous act of self-adornment, a quiet dedication to maintaining an image of ethereal beauty. Dressing in your daily attire was another act of quiet, precise layering, often involving multiple delicate garments. You would carefully select your undergarments, typically made of soft, breathable silk or fine linen, wrapping them around your body with a practiced, smooth motion, assisted by your maids. Over this you would don your everyday robes, perhaps made of richly embroidered silk that whispered softly as it settled around your form. Each fold, each knot, each intricate fastening was made with a deliberate hand, ensuring that the garment sat perfectly, reflecting the outer order that mirrored inner discipline and your precise status within the complex hierarchy of the harem. The subtle rustle of the silk fabric as you moved, the feel of its luxurious texture against your skin, are quiet sensations that become part of the background of your morning, a constant reminder of your privileged, yet constrained, existence. Finally, your maidservants would carefully assist you in adorning yourself with delicate jade pendants, intricately carved hairpins of gold, and pearls, and perhaps finely wrought bracelets. Their cool, smooth surfaces a gentle touch against your skin, their subtle weight a constant presence. Breakfast, a light and refined meal, would be a serene affair, often taken in the quiet solitude of your own private chamber, or in a small, intimate dining alcove overlooking a tranquil inner courtyard garden. Imagine the delicate clinking of fine porcelain bowls and cups, perhaps adorned with intricate blue and white patterns. As a maidservant gently placed your meal before you, the food would be exquisite, yet often small in portions, perhaps a delicate rice porridge, or kanji, seasoned lightly, accompanied by a small portion of pickled vegetables, steamed buns, and a warm, fragrant cup of jasmine tea. The aromas would be light and pleasant, the subtle steam from the kanji, the delicate fragrance of jasmine, the earthy scent of finely prepared vegetables. Meals are typically eaten in silence, or with very minimal, hushed conversation with your personal attendant, allowing each person to focus on the act of eating, on the subtle taste and texture of the food. Every bite is taken slowly, mindfully, a recognition of sustenance, not merely indulgence. The gentle clinking of porcelain, the soft scrape of wooden chopsticks. These are the only sounds that punctuate the quiet reverence of the morning meal, setting a tone of calm moderation for the hours to come. Following breakfast, a significant portion of a concubine's day, even during seemingly peaceful times, was dedicated to various forms of personal cultivation, learning, and quiet artistic pursuits, all designed to maintain their beauty, intellect, and grace, and thus, their potential favor with the emperor. This was rarely a spontaneous, self-directed exploration, but a highly structured curriculum, Imagine yourself in a quiet study room within your palace apartment, often filled with finely crafted wooden furniture, rolls of silk paintings, and delicate writing implements. The air here would be still, clean, carrying the faint scent of ink and aged paper. The light filtering gently through paper screens would illuminate the intricate details of your tasks. One of the most common and valued pursuits was the diligent practice of calligraphy. Imagine yourself seated patiently at a low, elegant wooden desk, your posture perfectly straight, your hand holding a fine brush pen, its delicate hairs soft against your fingertips. Before you, a large sheet of fine rice paper, its surface smooth and inviting. You would dip the brush into a small, polished inkstone which held a shallow pool of rich, black ink, meticulously prepared by grinding an ink stick with water. The rhythmic, almost hypnotic sound of the brush dipping into the ink, the soft, barely perceptible whisper of the bristles as they moved across the paper, meticulously forming each intricate Chinese character, each stroke, each subtle nuance of pressure would fill the quiet space. This was not a quick task, but a slow, deliberate act of creation, a continuous refinement of hand and spirit, demanding immense patience and unwavering concentration, each stroke a moment of profound mindfulness. The subtle aroma of the ink, earthy and rich, would fill your senses, drawing you deeper into the meditative act. Beyond calligraphy, concubines often spent hours engaged in playing musical instruments, particularly the guqin, a 7-string zither, or the pipa, a 4-stringed lute. Imagine your fingers moving delicately, precisely, over the silk strings of a guqin, plucking each note with intent. The sounds produced would be soft, resonant, melancholic, filling the quiet chamber with their soothing melodies. This was not a performance for a large audience, but a private practice, a solitary pursuit of musical perfection. A way to cultivate inner harmony and express subtle emotions. The rhythmic plucking of strings, the soft hum of the instrument, these were the sounds of quiet, artistic endeavor. Hours spent in focused repetition, slowly refining your skill, allowing the gentle music to flow through you, a profound form of creative meditation. Other pursuits might include delicate embroidery, creating intricate patterns on silk fabrics, each stitch a testament to patience and fine motor control, or perhaps painting, depicting serene landscapes, delicate flowers, or elegant birds, using soft watercolors that blended seamlessly on silk or paper. The rhythmic prick of the needle, the soft brush of paint on silk, these were the sounds of quiet artistic creation, filling the hours with purposeful, repetitive activity. The cultivation of beauty extended beyond oneself to the immediate surroundings. Concubines often had small, private courtyard gardens adjacent to their chambers, where they would spend time in quiet contemplation. Imagine tending to delicate potted plants, pruning a small bonsai tree with meticulous care, or simply sitting in silence, listening to the gentle splash of a small fountain, allowing the beauty of nature to soothe the spirit. The underlying reality of a concubine's day, however, was also defined by a pervasive sense of waiting. For many, the ultimate goal was to gain the emperor's favor, to bear him a son, and thus to elevate their status and secure their future within the rigid hierarchy of the harem. This meant long, often agonizing, hours of quiet anticipation, of subtle maneuvering, and of unspoken competition with countless other women. Imagine the emotional discipline required to maintain a serene, composed exterior, even while a profound undercurrent of anxiety or hope churned within. The waiting was not idle. It was a period of constant self-preparation, of refining one's talents, of upholding impeccable decorum, always ready should the emperor's eunuchs deliver a summons. The sounds of other concubines practicing their instruments, reciting poetry, or gossiping in hushed tones, would serve as a constant, subtle reminder of this unspoken competition, a gentle hum of ambition that permeated the gilded halls. Even the process of eating, beyond breakfast, involved its own quiet rituals. Meals would be served in individual chambers, often brought by maidservants in elegant lacquered trays, consisting of multiple small, exquisitely prepared dishes. Imagine the delicate aromas of steamed fish, of fragrant rice, of finely chopped vegetables, all presented with aesthetic perfection. Each bite would be taken slowly, mindfully, savoring the subtle flavors, as eating was a private, contemplative affair. The clinking of delicate chopsticks against porcelain, the soft rustle of silk as you reached for a dish. These were the sounds of a refined meal, consumed in elegant solitude. As the sun began its slow, gradual descent towards the western horizon, painting the vast palace grounds with fiery oranges, deep purples, and soft fading blues, the air gradually, slowly, began to cool again, bringing with it the damp, pervasive chill of the Chinese evening. The shadows lengthened, stretching endlessly across the courtyards and through the gardens, before finally, inevitably, merging into the complete, profound darkness of night. The concubine, weary from her day of meticulous grooming, disciplined study, and quiet waiting, would slowly prepare for the evening. Her hair would be unbound, her elaborate robes carefully removed, replaced by soft, comfortable sleeping garments of fine silk. The sounds of the palace at night would be the soft, rhythmic breathing of sleeping family members, the gentle rustle of a passing breeze through silk hangings, the distant muffled calls of palace guards, or the quiet murmur of a distant flute from another chamber, all blending into a soothing natural lullaby. This deep, shared sleep, born of an entire day of unyielding discipline, constant self-cultivation, and profound internal reflection, prepared her body for the inevitable, relentless rhythm of the coming dawn, knowing that tomorrow, the sun would rise again, and the endless, silent, demanding routines of imperial court life, with all its subtle pressures and elegant constraints, would simply, quietly, continue guiding her, through sheer weariness and continuous composure, towards a deep, restorative sleep, a peaceful surrender to the ancient, eternal patterns of existence. Having deeply immersed ourselves in the intricate, meticulously ordered, and profoundly repetitive daily routines of an imperial concubine, experiencing the persistent hum of the palace, sensing the pervasive sense of incense and delicate perfumes, and understanding the physical demands of their diligent, often monotonous self-cultivation, let us now, slowly and with a profound shift in perspective, turn our gaze. We are about to step into a vastly different yet equally disciplined and profoundly tranquil realm within the same vibrant civilization. The deeply private yet incredibly public world of the emperor's bedchamber and the meticulous, often anxiety-laden rituals surrounding bedding the emperor. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend romanticized notions of passion, delving instead into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform protocols that governed the most intimate moments within the Imperial Harem. It was a world where vast power intersected with personal vulnerability, creating unique and pervasive psychological challenges that would profoundly test the very sensibilities of a modern individual. Imagine, for a long, quiet moment, the evening within the vast, labyrinthine confines of the Imperial Harem. The sun has already set, painting the western sky with fading hues of orange and purple. The palace complex, though still subtly alive with the movements of countless eunuchs and maidservants, has settled into a more subdued, nocturnal rhythm. For the concubines, their day of meticulous grooming, disciplined study, and quiet artistic pursuits has concluded. They have perhaps enjoyed a light, refined evening meal, consumed in the serene solitude of their chambers. Now, the most significant, and often most anxiety-inducing ritual of their day begins to unfold. The selection process for who will spend the night with the emperor. The process was rarely spontaneous or driven by imperial whim alone. Instead, it was meticulously managed by the eunuchs, the silent, omnipresent guardians of the Imperial Harem. Imagine a senior eunuch, perhaps with a stoic, impassive face, moving slowly, deliberately, through the quiet corridors of the harem. He carries a large, intricately carved wooden tray, upon which are arranged dozens of small, thin, polished jade or ivory plaques. Each plaque bears the name and rank of a different concubine. The eunuch would then present this tray to the emperor, perhaps as the emperor concludes his evening meal, or as he relaxes in a quiet study. The emperor, with a slow, deliberate movement, would simply turn over the plaque of his chosen concubine for the night, a silent, weighty decision that determined one woman's fate for the next few hours and potentially for her entire future. This was not a hurried selection. It was a calm, almost detached act of imperial will. Once a concubine's plaque was chosen, a flurry of quiet, efficient activity would commence within the harem. Imagine the chosen concubine, perhaps in her own elegant chamber, receiving the silent summons from a junior eunuch. There would be no dramatic gasp, no outward display of excitement or fear. Instead, a profound sense of calm discipline would prevail. She would be immediately bathed, not in a quick utilitarian way, but in a ritualistic, soothing manner. Imagine her submerging herself slowly into a large, ornate ceramic or wooden tub, filled with warm, fragrant water, infused with delicate flower petals and aromatic herbs. The scents would be calming, therapeutic, designed to purify and relax her body and mind. Maidservants would gently wash her long black hair, carefully cleanse her skin, and prepare her for the imperial presence. The gentle splashing of water, the soft murmur of maidservants, the delicate scent of perfumes, all blend into a soothing backdrop for this intimate preparation. After her bath, her hair would be meticulously styled, often in an elaborate fashion, adorned with exquisite jade hairpins, delicate golden ornaments, or shimmering pearls. Her skin would be gently massaged with fragrant oils and powders, ensuring it was smooth, soft, and subtly perfumed. Her makeup would be applied with extreme precision, enhancing her natural beauty without being overtly dramatic, conforming to the subtle aesthetic ideals of the imperial court. Finally, she would be dressed, not in her everyday robes, but in fine, diaphanous silk garments, chosen for their delicate texture, their soft rustle, and their exquisite beauty. Imagine the feel of the cool, smooth silk against her skin, the subtle weight of her jade jewelry, the faint, sweet perfume that enveloped her. This entire process, spanning perhaps an hour or more, was a continuous act of meticulous self-preparation, designed to elevate her physical presence to imperial standards, a quiet ritual of transformation. Then came the procession to the emperor's bedchamber, a journey imbued with profound ritual and unspoken significance. Imagine the concubine, now exquisitely prepared, not walking, but being carried. She would be carefully lifted onto a small, elegant palanquin, a sedan chair often adorned with rich silk and intricate carvings. She would be entirely enveloped within its drapes, preventing her from seeing or being seen by the countless eyes that might line the palace corridors. The palanquin would then be carried slowly, deliberately, by 4 eunuchs, their footsteps soft and rhythmic on the polished stone floors. The journey itself, through the vast, quiet labyrinth of the palace, was a symbolic passage, a transition from her personal space to the sacred, exclusive realm of the emperor. The subtle sway of the palanquin, the muffled sounds of the eunuch's soft footsteps, the gentle rustle of silk drapes, these would be the only sensations during this quiet, significant transit. Upon arrival at the emperor's bedchamber, the rituals continued with precise, unwavering protocol. Imagine the concubine, still veiled by the palanquin, being gently carried directly into the emperor's chamber. She would then be carefully undressed by the eunuchs, her silken garments removed with quiet efficiency. This was not an act of intimacy, but of protocol, ensuring she carried no hidden weapons or dangerous objects into the emperor's presence. She would then be wrapped entirely in a large, soft, luxurious silk quilt, its smooth texture cool and comforting against her skin. Imagine the feel of the thick, enveloping silk, providing both warmth and a final layer of modest concealment. Then, still wrapped in the quilt, she would be gently carried directly to the emperor's bed, a large, ornate structure often adorned with intricate carvings, rich silks, and delicate jade ornaments. She would be placed, very slowly and with utmost care, at the foot of the emperor's bed. Her position, her movements, were entirely dictated by protocol, not by personal desire. Imagine her slowly, gracefully, crawling upwards, towards the emperor, still enveloped in the silk quilt, a silent, almost ritualistic progression. The silence in the bedchamber would be profound, broken only by the soft rustle of the quilt, the gentle creak of the bed, and the quiet, even breathing of the emperor. This entire process was meticulously observed by the eunuchs, who would remain in the chamber, standing silently at a discreet distance, their presence a constant, unseen reminder of the public nature of even this most private imperial act. Their role was to witness, to verify, and to record, ensuring protocol was strictly adhered to. After the allotted time, which was often precisely measured and controlled by the eunuchs, the concubine would be gently prompted to leave the emperor's bed. Imagine the subtle, quiet signal given by a senior eunuch, a soft cough, a gentle clearing of the throat, or the quiet chime of a small bell, indicating that her time had concluded. She would then be gently retrieved from the bed, still wrapped in the silk quilt, and carried out of the emperor's chamber by the eunuchs. The process of her departure mirrored her arrival, carried in the palanquin in profound silence, back to her own chambers within the harem complex. There was no lingering, no conversation, no outward display of emotion. The entire encounter, from summons to departure, was a highly formalized, repetitive ritual, a function of imperial protocol rather than personal intimacy. Upon returning to her own chamber, the rituals of the night were not yet complete. Imagine her being greeted by her personal maidservants, who would assist her in dressing back into her sleeping robes. A senior eunuch would then often be present, meticulously recording the date and time of her service with the emperor, ensuring accurate lineage records in case of a future pregnancy. This was a critical step, a bureaucratic necessity that underscored the concubine's primary role, to potentially bear a child for the emperor. The quiet scratch of a brush pen on a silk scroll, the soft murmur of the eunuch's voice as he recorded the details. These were the final sounds of a night spent in imperial service, a testament to the meticulous record-keeping of the ancient Chinese court. The psychological impact of this ritualistic intimacy was profound and pervasive, a silent anxiety that colored much of the concubine's existence. Imagine the constant quiet hope, mixed with an equally constant subtle anxiety. Every night brought the possibility of selection, and with it, the potential for a fleeting moment of imperial favor, a chance for an elevation in status, or the profound honor of bearing a child. Yet, the vast majority of nights brought no summons, only the quiet waiting, the slow passage of time in her elegant, yet solitary, chamber. The emotional discipline required to maintain a serene, composed exterior, to suppress outward displays of longing, disappointment, or ambition, was immense. This constant internal struggle, performed in profound silence, defined much of her existence, a quiet burden of unfulfilled desires and unspoken hopes. The competition within the Imperial Harem, though rarely overt, was a constant, subtle undercurrent, a silent tension that permeated every interaction. Hundreds, sometimes thousands, of women resided in the harem, all vying for the emperor's attention, all hoping for the chance to bear an heir. Imagine the quiet, knowing glances exchanged between concubines, the subtle shifts in social dynamics, the unspoken rivalries. The gossip would be hushed, delivered in low whispers by maidservants, spreading slowly through the palace complex. The strategic cultivation of beauty, of artistic talents, of decorum, were all tools in this silent competition. Yet, it was a competition that rarely erupted into open conflict. Instead, it played out in subtle gestures, in refined manners, in the quiet pursuit of perfection, a deeply psychological, unending dance for imperial favor, all hidden beneath a veneer of exquisite tranquility. The life of an imperial concubine, even in its most intimate moments, was ultimately one of profound isolation, a golden cage of luxury and expectation. Her world was largely confined to the vast walls of the Imperial Harem, a realm separated from the rest of the palace and the outside world. Her interactions were primarily with other concubines, eunuchs, and maidservants, a small, insular community. The emperor's presence, while central to her life, was often fleeting, ritualistic, and emotionally distant. Imagine the long hours spent in quiet contemplation, in diligent study, in solitary artistic pursuits, punctuated by moments of intense, ritualized interaction. This pervasive solitude, this constant sense of being on display yet profoundly alone, fostered a deep inner stillness, a reliance on internal strength, This unique blend of ritualized intimacy, silent anxiety, and profound solitude defined the life of an imperial concubine, a testament to endurance in a world of both immense privilege and quiet constraint. And as you contemplate the quiet discipline and profound enduring impact of these refined, yet often isolated figures of ancient Chinese imperial life, may your own mind find a similar stillness, a deep sense of calm, preparing you gently for a truly restful and dream-filled sleep. Having deeply immersed ourselves in the intricate, meticulously ordered, and profoundly repetitive daily routines of an imperial concubine, experiencing the persistent hum of the palace, sensing the pervasive sense of incense and delicate perfumes, and then contemplating the ritualized intimacy and silent anxieties surrounding the emperor's bedchamber. Let us now, slowly and with a profound shift in perspective, turn our gaze. We are about to step into a vastly different, yet equally disciplined and profoundly tranquil realm within the same vibrant civilization, the rich, yet often highly controlled and monotonous cultural and artistic life within the Imperial Harem and the broader palace complex. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend romanticized notions of spontaneous artistry, delving instead into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform routines that governed the pursuit of beauty, music, and learning for countless palace residents. It was a world where vast resources were dedicated to aesthetic perfection, creating unique and pervasive psychological challenges that would profoundly test the very sensibilities of a modern individual. Even amidst such refined imagine, for a long, quiet moment, a typical afternoon within the sprawling, exquisite confines of the Imperial Harem, long after the morning rituals of grooming and the anxieties of imperial summons have passed. The sun hangs high in the sky, casting dappled shadows through the intricate latticework of the palace windows onto polished stone floors. The air is still, clean, subtly infused with the delicate, calming scent of sandalwood incense, mingled with the faint, sweet aroma of blooming flowers from the surrounding gardens. The sounds that fill this vast complex are predominantly gentle, rhythmic, and meticulously controlled. The soft, distant plucking of a musical instrument, the quiet rustle of silk garments as maidservants move with practiced grace, the murmur of a distant fountain, all blending into a soothing background hum. This atmosphere of profound stillness, meticulously maintained, was designed to foster contemplation and refine the senses, serving as a backdrop for continuous cultural cultivation. One of the central pillars of cultural life for concubines and other palace residents was the diligent, continuous practice of calligraphy. This was not merely a skill, it was an art form, a reflection of one's cultivation, intellect, and inner discipline. Imagine yourself seated patiently at a low, elegant wooden desk, its surface polished to a soft sheen, perhaps positioned near an open window that allowed a gentle breeze to stir the silk hangings. Your posture would be perfectly straight, your hand holding a fine delicate brush pen, its animal hair bristles soft against your fingertips. Before you, a large sheet of fine rice paper, its surface smooth and inviting, waiting to receive your slow, deliberate strokes. You would dip the brush into a small, polished inkstone which held a shallow pool of rich, black ink, meticulously prepared by grinding an inkstick with cool water. The rhythmic, almost hypnotic sound of the brush dipping into the ink, the soft, barely perceptible whisper of the bristles as they moved across the paper, meticulously forming each intricate Chinese character, each stroke, each subtle nuance of pressure would fill the quiet space. This was not a quick task, but a slow, deliberate act of creation, a continuous refinement of hand and spirit, demanding immense patience and unwavering concentration. Each stroke a moment of profound mindfulness. The subtle aroma of the ink, earthy and rich, would fill your senses, drawing you deeper into the meditative act, allowing the outside world to slowly fade away. Beyond calligraphy, concubines and female attendants often spent countless hours engaged in playing musical instruments, particularly the guqin, a 7-string zither, or the pipa, a 4-stringed lute. These were not instruments for boisterous celebrations, but for quiet, contemplative melodies, designed to soothe the spirit and evoke deep emotions. Imagine your fingers moving delicately, precisely, over the silk strings of a guqin, plucking each note with intentionality, creating a cascade of soft, resonant, sometimes melancholic melodies. The sounds produced would be subtle, ethereal, filling the quiet chamber with their soothing harmonies. This was rarely a performance for a large, boisterous audience, but more often a private practice, a solitary pursuit of musical perfection, a way to cultivate inner harmony and express subtle emotions through sound. The rhythmic plucking of strings, the soft hum of the instrument's wooden body, these were the sounds of quiet artistic endeavor. Hours spent in focused repetition, slowly refining your skill, allowing the gentle music to flow through you. A profound form of creative meditation that brought a sense of structured peace. Other artistic pursuits were equally valued and meticulously practiced. Imagine concubines engaged in delicate embroidery, creating intricate, vibrant patterns on silk fabrics, perhaps depicting auspicious symbols, natural scenes, or classical poetry. Each tiny stitch was a testament to immense patience and incredibly fine motor control, consuming countless hours of quiet, focused labor. Or perhaps they would engage in painting, depicting serene landscapes, delicate flowers, elegant birds, or scenes from mythology, using soft watercolors that blended seamlessly on silk or paper. The rhythmic prick of the needle as it pierced the fabric, the soft brush of paint on silk, these were the subtle sounds of quiet artistic creation, filling the hours with purposeful, repetitive activity. The cultivation of beauty extended beyond oneself to the immediate surroundings. Concubines often had small, private courtyard gardens adjacent to their chambers, meticulously tended by eunuchs and gardeners, where they would spend time in quiet contemplation. Imagine tending to delicate potted plants, pruning a small bonsai tree with meticulous care, its ancient, gnarled branches slowly shaped over decades, or simply sitting in silence, listening to the gentle splash of a small fountain, allowing the beauty of nature to soothe the spirit. The performance of various palace rituals and ceremonies, though often public in its outcome, involved immense periods of quiet preparation and precise execution, even for the lower-ranking members of the imperial retinue. Imagine the meticulous arrangement of tea sets for a formal tea ceremony, each delicate porcelain cup and teapot placed with exact precision on a low lacquered table, the heating of water to the perfect temperature, the careful measurement of tea leaves, the gentle pouring. Each step was a slow, deliberate movement, a ballet of ritualistic grace. The sounds would be soft, the clinking of porcelain, the gentle murmur of attendants, the rhythmic splash of water. These were not just social events. They were deeply symbolic rituals, designed to promote harmony, order, and respect, all performed with a pervasive sense of calm and quiet reverence. The education of children within the harem, particularly those born to the emperor, also involved a structured, quiet rhythm. Young princes and princesses, even within the confines of the harem, would receive a rigorous education from a young age. Imagine a tutor, often a scholar of immense learning, sitting patiently with a young prince or princess in a quiet study, carefully explaining classical texts, history, and the intricate calligraphy. The sounds would be the soft rustle of scrolls, the gentle dictation of the tutor's voice, the quiet scratching of a student's brush pen on paper, as they slowly absorb the vast knowledge required of imperial offspring. This was a long, slow process of intellectual cultivation, designed to instill wisdom, discipline, and a profound understanding of their future responsibilities, all conducted in an atmosphere of serene, academic quietude. The vast imperial kitchens, though a hub of activity, also operated with a remarkable degree of organized quiet. Imagine the sheer scale of operations, hundreds of cooks and assistants, working with incredible efficiency, preparing countless dishes for the emperor, his concubines, and the vast palace staff. Yet, the sounds would not be a chaotic din, but a rhythmic hum of activity. The soft chop of knives on wooden boards, the gentle sizzle of food cooking over low fires, the rhythmic grinding of spices, the soft clinking of pottery and bronze cookware. The air would be filled with a rich, complex tapestry of aromas, fragrant spices, simmering broths, roasted meats, sweet pastries all blending into a pervasive, enticing scent that permeated the palace. This was an immense, coordinated effort, performed with a quiet, practiced discipline, ensuring that every meal was a masterpiece of culinary art, meticulously prepared and delivered with seamless grace. The maintenance of the palace grounds, the vast courtyards, and the intricate gardens also contributed to the pervasive sense of quiet order. Imagine hundreds of eunuchs and gardeners, moving slowly, diligently, sweeping polished stone paths with long, soft bristled brooms, their rhythmic swishing sounds echoing faintly in the distance. They would meticulously prune ancient trees, tend to delicate flower beds, and ensure that every corner of the immense complex was immaculately clean and perfectly ordered. The gentle rustle of leaves being swept, the soft splash of water from watering cans, the quiet snip of pruning shears, these were the constant sounds of their tireless, often unseen labor. This continuous, meticulous maintenance created an environment of profound tranquility, an aesthetic designed to soothe the imperial eye and calm the imperial mind. The underlying reality of cultural life in the Imperial Harem, however, was also subtly shaped by a pervasive sense of competition and the constant pressure to maintain imperial favor. While the pursuit of art and learning brought personal fulfillment, it was also a means to an end, to distinguish oneself, to impress the emperor, to secure one's position within the rigid hierarchy. Imagine the intense, internal drive to perfect one's calligraphy, to master a new melody, to create an exquisite painting not just for the love of the art, but for the potential recognition it might bring. This created a unique tension, profound creative discipline coexisting with subtle, unspoken ambition. The quiet diligence, the endless hours of practice, were all part of this elaborate, subtle dance for survival and advancement within the gilded cage of the palace. This meticulous cultivation of art, music, and learning, performed within the quiet, structured confines of the Imperial Harem and the broader palace complex, stands as a profound testament to the sophistication of ancient Chinese culture. It reveals a world where even the most intimate aspects of life were imbued with ritual and meaning, and where the pursuit of beauty and knowledge was a continuous, disciplined endeavor. It created an environment of profound tranquility, a subtle rhythm that permeated every corner of palace life, offering a unique blend of luxury and quiet constraint. And as you contemplate the quiet discipline and profound enduring impact of these artistic and cultural pursuits within ancient Chinese imperial life, may your own mind find a similar stillness, a deep sense of calm, preparing you gently for a truly restful and dream-filled sleep. Having deeply immersed ourselves in the intricate, meticulously ordered, and profoundly repetitive daily routines of an imperial concubine, experiencing the persistent hum of the palace and sensing the pervasive sense of incense and delicate perfumes, and having then contemplated the ritualized intimacy and silent anxieties surrounding the emperor's bedchamber, and explored the rich, yet highly controlled, cultural and artistic life within the palace, let us now, slowly and with a profound shift in perspective, turn our gaze. We are about to step into a vastly different, yet equally disciplined and profoundly tranquil realm within the same vibrant civilization. The inner sanctum of power itself, the life of the emperor and the pervasive, often unseen hierarchy that governed every aspect of the imperial harem. This is a narrative that seeks to transcend romanticized notions of absolute power, delving instead into the harsh, often unyielding, yet deeply repetitive and surprisingly uniform protocols that governed even the highest echelons of ancient Chinese society. It was a world where immense authority intersected with profound personal constraint, creating unique and pervasive psychological challenges that would profoundly test the very sensibilities of a modern individual, even amidst such ultimate privilege. Imagine, for a long, quiet moment, the very start of a day for the emperor himself, the son of heaven, at the heart of his sprawling, exquisite palace. The hour is impossibly early, long before the first hint of golden light has even begun to paint the cold, gray eastern sky, which is still shrouded in the deep, cool indigo blue of He is awakened not by a jarring alarm, but by the subtle, internal clock of his own body, a profound, ingrained rhythm attuned to the necessities of ritual and governance. Perhaps the faint, distant clang of a ceremonial gong marking the earliest hour of court, or the low, almost imperceptible murmur of eunuchs beginning their quiet preparations in the outer chambers gently pulls him back from the depths of sleep. His vast, opulent bedchamber, a space of immense grandeur adorned with rich silks, intricate carvings, and delicate jade ornaments, feels cool and dark, its thick walls holding the night's coolness against the encroaching morning warmth. The air within carries a complex, clean, comforting scent of sandalwood incense, mingled with the faint, sweet aroma of dried flower petals and the subtle presence of finely polished wood. His mattress, filled with the finest cotton or silk floss, offers an unparalleled comfort, its smooth texture a gentle caress against his skin. He rises slowly, majestically, his body perfectly rested, as his life is structured to minimize physical exertion. The polished, ornate stone or wooden floor beneath his bare feet is cool, smooth, its texture familiar against his soles, utterly clean. The process of preparing for the day for the emperor was an elaborate, unhurried, and deeply ritualistic affair, a central pillar of his daily existence. There is no rushed showering or quick styling. Instead, a retinue of highly trained eunuchs and maidservants, moving with trained grace and efficiency, would assist him. Imagine him sitting patiently before a large, intricately carved bronze mirror, its surface gleaming softly in the lamplight. A eunuch would bring a large, shallow basin of warm, fragrant water, often infused with delicate flower petals and aromatic herbs. He would dip his hands and face into the soothing, warm liquid, feeling its gentle caress awaken his skin, its subtle perfume filling his senses. His hair, meticulously groomed, would then be carefully combed and styled, sometimes adorned with a delicate golden crown or an intricate hairpin, by the gentle hands of his personal attendants. Beyond basic washing and hair care, the application of subtle cosmetics was an intricate, time-consuming art, ensuring his imperial countenance was always serene and flawless. This entire process, spanning perhaps an hour or more, was a continuous act of meticulous self-preparation, designed to elevate his physical presence to divine standards, a quiet ritual of transformation observed with unwavering deference. Dressing in his daily imperial attire was another act of quiet, precise layering, often involving multiple exquisitely crafted garments. He would carefully select his undergarments, typically made of the finest silk or delicate linen, assisted by his eunuchs. Over this, he would don his formal court robes, perhaps made of richly embroidered silk adorned with imperial dragon motifs, heavy yet flowing, whispering softly as it settled around his form. Each fold, each knot, each intricate fastening was made with a deliberate hand, ensuring that the garment sat perfectly, reflecting the outer order that mirrored his divine inner discipline and his supreme status. The subtle rustle of the silk fabric as he moved, the feel of its luxurious texture against his skin, are quiet sensations that become part of the background of his mourning, a constant reminder of his unparalleled, yet constrained, existence. Finally, his attendants would carefully assist him in adorning himself with elaborate jade pendants, intricate golden belts, and perhaps finely wrought pearl necklaces. Their cool, smooth surfaces a gentle touch against his skin, their subtle weight a constant, regal presence. Breakfast, a light and refined meal, would be a serene affair, often taken in the quiet solitude of his own private dining chamber, or a small, intimate garden courtyard. Imagine the delicate clinking of fine porcelain bowls and cups, perhaps adorned with intricate imperial dragon patterns. As eunuchs gently placed his meal before him, the food would be exquisite, yet often small in portions, perhaps a delicate rice porridge, or kanji, seasoned lightly, accompanied by a small portion of finely prepared vegetables, steamed buns, and a warm, fragrant cup of the finest tea. The aromas would be light and pleasant, the subtle steam from the kanji, the delicate fragrance of tea, the earthy scent of finely prepared dishes. Meals are typically eaten in silence or with very minimal hushed conversation with a trusted senior eunuch, allowing the emperor to focus on the act of eating, on the subtle taste and texture of the food. Every bite is taken slowly, mindfully, a recognition of sustenance and the profound privilege of his position, not merely indulgence. The gentle clinking of porcelain, the soft scrape of wooden chopsticks, these are the only sounds that punctuate the quiet reverence of the morning meal, setting a tone of calm moderation for the hours to come. Following breakfast, the emperor's morning would often transition to the solemn duties of governance, taking place in his imperial study or a grand audience hall. Imagine him seated on his magnificent throne, or at a large, intricately carved wooden desk, its surface polished to a soft sheen, perhaps overlooking a vast palace courtyard. Here, the work was one of careful deliberation, not hurried reaction. He would receive reports from his grand counselors, his ministers, or his various eunuch officials, delivered with formal bows and hushed, respectful tones. These reports might detail military affairs from distant borders, petitions from various provinces, the progress of grand building projects, or intricate judicial matters. Decisions were made not through shouting or dramatic pronouncements, but through calm, considered thought, often after long periods of silent contemplation, perhaps with the quiet counsel of his most trusted advisors. Imagine the soft rustle of silk scrolls being unrolled, the quiet scratching of a scribe's brush pen on vellum as imperial edicts were penned, and the faint, methodical murmuring of reports being read aloud by a meticulously trained official. This silent bureaucracy, running with seamless efficiency, was the unseen engine of imperial power, a testament to meticulous planning and precise execution, ensuring the eternal order of the vast Chinese empire. A crucial, pervasive element of the emperor's life, and indeed the entire palace, was the intricate and often unforgiving hierarchy of the Imperial Harem, a world of women all living under his ultimate authority. This hierarchy was not a chaotic free-for, but a meticulously structured system, designed to maintain order and control. At the top was the empress, followed by various ranks of consorts, and then the myriad concubines, each with their own precise title, privileges, and designated living quarters. Imagine the constant, yet unspoken, pressure within this system. Every woman, from the highest consort to the lowest ranked concubine, understood her place, her duties, and her limitations. The movement of women through the palace, their interactions, their very expressions, were governed by strict rules of protocol, designed to prevent conflict and maintain a veneer of serene harmony. The sounds of gossip would be hushed, delivered in low whispers by maidservants spreading slowly through the palace complex, a subtle undercurrent of ambition and rivalry. The selection of concubines to serve the emperor for the night, as we explored, was a precise, often impersonal ritual, meticulously managed by the eunuchs. Even for the emperor, this was not always a matter of spontaneous desire, but of imperial duty and protocol. The emperor was expected to spread his favor, to ensure the continuation of the imperial line, and to maintain a delicate balance within the harem. Imagine the emperor in his private chambers, perhaps perusing the jade plaques, his decision a quiet, calculated act of state. His emotional life, too, was often constrained by ritual and expectation. True, deep personal intimacy, as understood in a private relationship, was a luxury rarely afforded to the Son of Heaven. His affections, his attention, were assets to be carefully distributed, not freely given. This immense personal constraint, even amidst absolute power, contributed to a profound sense of isolation, a gilded cage that, despite its luxury, limited true human connection. The sheer scale of the palace's operations, all centered around the emperor, was staggering. Thousands of eunuchs, maidservants, guards, cooks, scribes, and artisans worked tirelessly, often in profound silence, to maintain the imperial household. Imagine the intricate ballet of their movements, eunuchs sweeping vast courtyards with long, soft-bristled brooms, their rhythmic swishing sounds echoing faintly, maidservants quietly replenishing incense burners, arranging fresh flowers, or preparing tea, guards standing motionless at their posts, their presence a silent, unwavering deterrent. The palace was a living, breathing machine of protocol and service. operating with an almost supernatural efficiency, all designed to ensure the emperor's comfort, security, and the uninterrupted flow of his divine rule. The sounds of their work, though myriad, blended into a continuous, soothing hum, a backdrop of ordered, ceaseless activity. Even the emperor's moments of leisure were often deeply structured and filled with quiet, contemplative pursuits. Imagine him in a serene palace garden, its design embodying philosophical principles, with meticulously arranged rocks, flowing water, and ancient trees. He might sit quietly on a stone bench, contemplating the subtle beauty of a koi pond, listening to the gentle splash of its waters, or watching the slow, graceful movement of fish. Or perhaps he would engage in the meditative art of calligraphy, his hand moving with trained precision over silk or paper, his mind focused entirely on the beauty of the character. The soft strumming of a guqin or the haunting melody of a zhao flute, played by a musician in a distant pavilion, might drift softly through the air, creating an atmosphere of profound tranquility. These were not mere pastimes, but extensions of his intellectual and spiritual discipline, designed to cultivate inner harmony and profound wisdom. As evening approached, the pace would subtly shift towards more formal, yet still serene, imperial banquets or cultural gatherings. Imagine the grand dining halls, illuminated by countless lanterns and flickering candles, adorned with rich tapestries and intricate screens. The aromas would be complex and enticing, exquisitely prepared dishes of rare delicacies, fragrant wines, sweet pastries. The sounds would be subtle, the gentle clinking of porcelain, the soft murmur of conversations among high-ranking officials and favored consorts, often accompanied by the distant, harmonious strains of traditional music. This was a time for refined enjoyment, for intellectual discourse, for ceremonial entertainment, all conducted in a tranquil, controlled environment, fostering deep thought and calm exchange. The emperor, at the head of the table, would preside with a serene, dignified composure, his presence a quiet, unwavering center of authority. The pervasive sense of order and quiet dignity within the imperial palace was maintained by this vast, intricately trained network of household staff and officials. They moved through the complex with a quiet efficiency that bordered on invisibility. Imagine their soft, almost imperceptible footsteps on the polished stone floors, their hushed whispers as they communicated tasks, their seamless execution of every chore serving meals, maintaining the vast kitchens, tending to the intricate gardens, cleaning every surface until it gleamed or performed without drawing undue attention, ensuring that the emperor's environment remained undisturbed and perfectly ordered. Their silent presence was a testament to the meticulous training and discipline instilled throughout the entire imperial household, creating an atmosphere where every need was anticipated and met with seamless grace, reinforcing the sense of effortless majesty and control. As night deepened and the final lanterns were softly extinguished by discreet hands, the vast palace complex would slowly, gradually, settle into a profound, encompassing silence. The only sounds would be the soft creaking of old timbers as the vast structure responded to the cooling night air, perhaps the distant, muffled hoot of an owl from the surrounding imperial gardens, or the gentle rhythmic breathing of the sleeping inhabitants within their luxurious chambers. This was the deep, restorative sleep earned through a day of structured majesty, of quiet governance, and of serene ceremonial duties. It was a profound rest that prepared the mind and body for the similar, unhurried rhythms of the coming dawn, a world of ordered splendor, yet also profound constraint, far removed from the clamor of the common people. And as you imagine yourself settling into this deep, quiet comfort, feeling the soft embrace of fine silk and listening to the profound stillness of an ancient, elegant Chinese imperial palace, allow your own mind to find its perfect stillness, drifting gently, peacefully into a deep and truly dream-filled sleep.